Hey, what's up guys? Shuckle King here, bringing you my round of 16 battle for the NPL Tryout Tournament versus Hyper. He finished 4-1 in his bracket in Pool E, I believe it was. It was Pool D. He finished in first place, 4-1 plus 11, which definitely is better than my 4-1 plus 5 differential, but we both won our brackets. That's pretty cool that we're facing off. I don't really know many of the other players in his pool, but regardless, he was able to get through. So that's a pretty big accomplishment right there. Shout outs to Hyper for doing that. But I plan on trying to win this game and advancing as far as I can into this bracket. So his team, from most to least threatening, is Mega DNC, Tornadoes T with Z's move access, Bisharp, MasqueRAIN, Latias, Tangrowth, Porygon Z, Blaziken, Culodon, Cryogonal, Gastrodon, and Raichu. So he has the maximum amount of Pokemon on his team. He has a lot of lowish mid-tier Pokemon that probably one or two of them will come, but I'm not terribly threatened by. His top-tier talent isn't great, but he has a lot of depth, obviously, just because he has a lot of Pokemon on his team. Mega Diancie is pretty threatening. Any fairy is threatening to my team, let alone something faster and offensive, like a Tapu Koko or Mega Diancie is pretty scary for my team. It'll outspeed my Garchomp, speed ties my Diancie, outspeeds Manaphy, though it really doesn't want to stay on that. Necrozma can kind of take hits, Decidueye doesn't want to take hits, Aerodactyl doesn't, Persian, Conkeldurr. They don't really want to handle it. And Scolipede isn't as reliable with Poison Jab on the Mega Diancie. I'd have to run, I suppose, like Earthquake or Aqua Tail to hit it harder. Tornadoes T, annoying just because of how fast it is, though I do have Aerodactyl to outspeed it, and Scolipede can get a +1 speed boost and hit it hard with Adamant Life or Brock Slide. Bisharp's pretty annoying. It's fairly slow, and I do have Conkeldurr with Mom Punch to revenge kill pretty easily, but if he can get a Sword Stance up, it'll be pretty hard for me to have a Sucker Punch switching on my team, so I do have to watch out for that. MasqueRAIN can be surprisingly annoying. I don't know if it necessarily a web set makes a lot of sense. Versus my team, I feel like a Quiver Dance set could definitely be an issue if I don't preserve my Mega Diancie or my Scolipede or even my Aerodactyl at the end of the game. Latias, fast for my Garchomp, so that's certainly annoying, but Necrozma should be able to handle that defensively if I have a little Persian as well. The rest of this team I'm not terribly threatened about. Porygon Z is not as threatening because it doesn't have Z move access. Blaziken does have Z move access, but Necrozma pretty much hard walls it. He could bring Culodon for spikes because it should threaten out my Mega DNC, but if I bring Decidueye for my hazard removal, then he has really nothing to hit that with. So that's his team right there. Anything else to note? His Stealth Rock users are Mega Diancie and Bisharp, so hopefully I can take advantage of that and hopefully prevent Rocks Up from coming this game, because those two aren't the most reliable Stealth Rock users. So my team, as you can see, the first Pokemon I have is Necrozma with max HP, 80 in defense, 4 in special attack with Modest, 148 in special defense, and 24 speed. So a lot of different EVs distributed on his Necrozma. And I went into this match with Hidden Power Fighting over Earth Power, but I forgot until the match was about to begin that my team wasn't legal because Necrozma can't get Hidden Power Fighting because it needs at least 3 perfect IVs or 4 perfect IVs or something, and Hidden Power Fighting does not allow that. I think you need 330 IVs on Necrozma for that, so that's why Hidden Power Fighting wouldn't work, and that's mainly to knock out, that was there with the 4 and special attack investment with Modest to knock out a max HP Bisharp with Hidden Power Fighting, and I could go to Brick Break and be physical, but I didn't really like physical as much in this matchup because the Gastrodon handles this set a little bit better, as well as Tangrowth, though Toxic still handles it alright for the Tangrowth. But Earth Power I feel like is good enough. It also hits the Mega Diancie harder, so that's certainly a bonus there. The defense allows me to live a Z Flare Blitz after Rocks from a Blaziken if he wants to have that set, and then I can either Moonlight or Photon Geyser knock it out. And the special defense investment, I needed at least 108 special defense EVs to live 2 Mega Diancie or Tornadoes hits. So this is kind of like my special defensive check to Mega Diancie and Tornadus and Blaziken, and can someone handle Bisharp? There's going to be a lot of pressure on this Necrozma. Hopefully it'll be able to handle all of them, but if it doesn't, then I'll be able to work around it, hopefully. But I'm really relying a lot on this Necrozma set to do work. But Toxic will be there to handle the Tangrowth and the Gastrodon better, and Photon Geyser just to hit the rest of his team. The next Pokemon I have is the Scolipede. Protect, Baton Pass, Substitute, Rock Slide. So we do have a Speed Passing Scolipede again this week. The Speed allows me to add Speed, MasqueRAIN without a Protect, which is certainly nice, and then Rock Slide will knock it out. Or I have a chance to flinch it, even if it has Focus Sash. So that's also a plus there. And I should have enough bulk to hopefully live in Air Slash, but I'm not 100% sure to be sure. But the attack investment allows me to 2-hit KO Tornadus, even without Rocks up, which is certainly a plus. If I get a Substitute up, I should be able to 2-hit KO with a Rock Slide. If he's forced to either taunt, or if he wants to try to break my sub, he's going to be losing his his Tornadus in the process. I also killed a little bit of bulk invested Cryogonal after Rocks, because if he brings Cryogonal, I expect it'll be enough speed to outspeed my Garchomp, and then a tiny bit of bulk for the rest of it. But otherwise, just max HP to get as much out of Black Sludge and Substitutes as possible. I don't think I'll be able to set up a Substitute and keep it reliably on anything on his team, unlike the Amoonguss from D-Train in like my first game. Maybe if he brings the Quilladin, but otherwise, basically anything on his team should be able to break us up. Like Tangrowth will probably have Rock Slide, or to hit my Aerodactyl, or even Earthquake also kind of makes sense. So I won't be able to live a hit from Tangrowth, but hopefully the Scolipede can pass speed reliably into Conkeldurr, which is similar to the same set that I brought against D-Train, but instead of Knockoff for his Necrozma, I have Earthquake for his Mega Diancie, because that's the most reliable thing to knock out Mega Diancie. Otherwise, speed allows me to outspeed Scarf Tornadus if I'm at +6, so being very safe there. I guess he could be Rock Polish Mega Diancie, but it is what it is there if he did bring that. Facade hits his team really hard because he doesn't have a resist besides the Diancie, which gets knocked out by Earthquake. Drain Punch recover a lot of HP, and Mach Punch, in general, if I don't get the speed boost up, at least I can hit really hard with Mach Punch. Next Pokemon I have is Mega Diancie. Stealth Rocks protect Moonblast Diamond Storm. Now this set I hopefully will deter the rocks coming up on my side of the field from Mega Diancie, and then I should at least put it in a standstill, where if I can essentially trade my Mega Diancie or even go for 50-50 with mine versus his Mega Diancie, I'm going to definitely go for that. If I can eliminate his Mega Diancie, then I feel a lot more comfortable in trying to win this match. But Protect is there to guarantee that I get my Magic Bounce up and maybe prevent the Mega Diancie from going for like an Earth Power or Hidden Power Steel or something like that. But with the special attack investment, I do have a chance to almost 2-hit KO Gastrodon after Rocks. I do need a little bit of chip on that, but hopefully this set works out, and the HP should allow me to live any hit from the Mega Diancie, unless if he's Hidden Power Steel, which he could be, but I feel like having Earth Power is also nice against my team. Next Pokemon I have is Aerodactyl with Flynium Z. Stone Edge, Iron Head, Fly, Earthquake. He doesn't have a Z-Fly switch-in besides the Bisharp. Well, he has a couple, I guess. He has Bisharp, he has Gastrodon, Mega Diancie. Bisharp won't be able to knock me out with a Sucker Punch, but it'll do a lot to me, and Earthquake won't be able to knock out the Bisharp, so that's why I have to try to find ways to chip down the Bisharp before Aerodactyl can reliably come in. Stone Edge is there to hit the Tornadus T and the Cryogonal, and it hits a decent amount of his team pretty hard. Z-Fly will kill the Tangrowth. It'll do over half the Gastrodon. It'll do probably over half the everything on his team. And Iron Head is there to knock out the Mega Diancie because Earthquake does not kill from full. So I want to make sure I have a 100% guaranteed way to knock out the Mega Diancie. I could have gone with Roost, maybe instead of Iron Head or Earthquake, but I would have guaranteed a knockout on the Mega Diancie. And I also don't want the Bisharp from sending up a Swords Dance for free in front of my Aerodactyl. The last Pokemon I have is Manaphy. Tail Glow, Ice Beam, Scald, Energy Bulb. The speed is the same with Scolipede to outspeed the MasqueRAIN and bop it with an Ice Beam. The bulk allows me to live a +2 sucker punch from full from Adamant Life Orb Bisharp. Then I pop my Papa Berry, Scald, and hopefully get the burn there. So that's my team. Let's get right into the match. Alright, here we are for my game against Hyper, and as we can see here, he does not bring the Bisharp, which is great for me. My Necrozma should be able to do a lot more this game, and I don't have to rely on Hidden Power fighting as much. Earth Power might actually be better to do more damage to the DNC. So glad that worked out for me. Otherwise, not terribly surprised. Gastrodon, I mean, I had it pretty low just because I'm not really threatened by it at all, but otherwise, I'm not really surprised with the rest of the team that he brought. Cryogonal, well, outspeed my Garchomp, which was certainly nice for him, but I did not bring that, so it shouldn't be as useful. It does have Freeze Dry to hit my Manaphy, so I do have to watch out for that. But my Necrozma should pretty much wall its entire team, which should be great. But as my lead of choice, I'm going to lead with DNC because I want to make sure I do not get I want to make sure my opponent does not get rocks up or sticky webs. So I'm going to lead with the DNC as he leads with the Gastrodon. At this point, I'm going to protect to ensure that I get my magic bounce out so MasqueRAIN can't set up sticky webs. And Mega DNC can't really set up Stealth Rocks that easily, so I will protect here. And at this point, I'm going to switch to my Necrozma because it's the best thing I had to take on this Gastrodon. He goes for a Scald again and gets a burn. Now, I figured he wasn't going to go for a Toxic because if I stayed in and just got my rocks up or just did a lot of damage with Moonblast on the Gastrodon and he went for a Toxic with the Magic Bounce, then it would have put his Gastrodon in really bad shape. So I figured he didn't really want that. And Gastrodon is probably a clear Smog user to try to maybe get rid of Speed Pass Boost and the Conkeldurr. So by getting the Scald Burn on the Necrozma, that's pretty clutch for me because he's not able to Toxic my Necrozma. So I'm going to have fairly good longevity throughout this match. I don't have to worry about getting statused. So he goes in this Cryogonal. Tox is a pretty free play, hits everything on his team because Mega DNC hasn't Mega Evolved yet. And at this point, I'm going to just scout and see how much damage this Cryogonal is going to do as I go for Moonlight, and he goes into Latios. Now, I'm not afraid of Latios. I can go for a Toxic, but if he's Trick, that would be a big problem for you. So I'm going to go to DNC, seeing if he is Trick, and he goes for a Calm Mind. So I could have Toxic there, and I should have done pretty decent damage. So I go for the Moonblast, and this damage, even at +1, only does 54%. So I know he's a max HP set. So that's a pretty interesting spread here. Surf has a chance to knock me out here. If he's a max special attack, if he's like a Life Orb set, it'll certainly knock me out. But as we see here, he goes for another Calm Mind. So that's risky. I won't be able to knock it out with Moonblast, but I have a chance to knock it out with Diamond Storm. Unless he's like max HP, max defense, which I suppose he could be. I still don't know his spread from this point in the battle. So I'm going to go for the Diamond Storm and hope I knock it out, but he goes for a Roost. So he's max HP, max speed, and I go for a Diamond Storm. So I should be in decent shape. If he goes for Surf, he's going to knock me out, but I have a 50-50 shot of knocking him out in return, and I should be able to revenge kill him with my Mega Aerodactyl Z move. So I'm not particularly worried with this set. But as we can see here, he will outspeed and go for Stored Power, and does not knock me out because he doesn't have any special attack investment or very minimal. So I'm able to knock out the Latios with my DNC. So I'm okay with this trade because I still have my DNC to prevent Stealth Rocks and Sticky Webs up. Tornadus comes in and goes with my Aerodactyl to live any hit he wants to go for, and goes for an Air Slash. Now I feel like I should threaten him out with either a Stone Edge or a Z Fly. So I feel like his best switch in here is Gastrodon. So what I'm going to do here is go into my Manaphy, predicting that Gastrodon switch in and go for the Energy Ball. But he just goes for the Icy Wind and stays in. So I could have knocked out the Tornadus, but I'm okay. I can still set up on this set. But he goes for the Taunt, which is the good play, and I cannot set up my Tail Glow. But I can just Ice Beam. Like, I can hit his team pretty hard, and he really doesn't have the greatest switch in, especially because the Cryogonal is Toxic. So he's going to go for Icy Wind, not doing much damage at all. I don't care about the lowered speed. I'll be able to 2 KO his Tornadus because he is not a Solfest. I'm going to go for the Scald here, predicting a switch in either the DNC or the Cryogonal, and I get a decent chip off. But I don't want to really stay in here, particularly him to go for the Freeze Dry. And a Life Orb Freeze Dry is not going to kill, but it's going to do a lot of damage. And I feel like my Manaphy is more useful for not taking on this Cryogonal. So I'm going to switch out into my Necrozma. as he goes for the freeze dry and does not do a whole lot. But at this point in the battle, as we can see here, I recover HP and he loses HP. I actually thought he was Life Orb, and Life Orb would make sense to outspeed my Garchomp and hit my Manaphy really hard. So that's something that might come into play later if I realize that he was a different item besides Life Orb. But anyway, at this point, I can just recover stall this Cryogonal if I want to, but instead I'm going to go for the Photon Geyser. And I do this because I don't want to give the MasqueRAIN a chance to set up and sweep. I was pretty paranoid. At this point, I feel like his only way of winning this game is to set up Quiver Dances with MasqueRAIN, because I feel like I handled the rest of his team pretty well. I mean, if he's like a Rock Polish Mega Diancie set, then that could be a problem, but again, my Necrozma should be able to handle it okay. And I should do enough damage to where my Manaphy or my Conkeldurr should Revenge Kill it with a Mach Punch. But I don't want it to get a free switch in without breaking its Focus Sash. So if I go for a Toxic, that's okay, I'll be wearing it down. If I go for the Photon Geyser, I'll be able to 2 KO it. So I want to make sure that MasqueRAIN does not get a chance to set up a Quiver Dance behind a Focus Sash. So as we see here, I could recover up on this Gastrodon, but instead I'm going to Toxic. Again, the middle ground play to make sure that MasqueRAIN does not come in for free. So I get a Toxic off, eventually I'll be able to kill it, that's great. Again, I don't want to get that free switch in, so I'm going to go for the Photon Geyser, and I do a decent amount, showing that he's physically defensive more than specially defensive, which makes a lot of sense. He brings me down to under half, and the Necrozma is great to handle the rest of his team, so I should Moonlight again, but again, I don't want to give that MasqueRAIN a chance to come in for free and start Quiver Dancing up on me. So I'm going to go on to Scolipede, because I feel he was getting pretty low with his Gastrodon, so it was pretty safe for him to either switch out and not rack up that toxic damage or recover. So Scolipede I felt like it was pretty safe, but even if it wasn't, like, he could have gone into MasqueRAIN there, predicting me to go for Moonlight. And I'm okay with my Scolipede in versus a MasqueRAIN because I'll be able to kill over the Rock Slide unless he's Focus Sash, in which case I'll be able to bring it to his Focus Sash and then Revenge Kill it with Conkeldurr. That's why I went with the middle ground Scolipede play. I didn't think it was going to Scald, and I wasn't really too scared about a risk of a burn. So I go into my Scolipede here, and I am a speed passing Scolipede with Rock Slide, so if I can get a sub up and keep it up and Rock Slide into a KO to Tornadus, I'm fine with that. So maybe he'll miss a Air Slash, maybe he'll over predict and go for an Icy Wound and not break my sub, but I'm going to just continuously protect, get my HP up, maybe get the +6 speed as he shows Taunt. So it's like, okay, I'm going to keep going for the sub. Hopefully he goes for a Taunt, and then in that case I can 2 KO his Tornadus with Rock Slide if he goes for the Taunt here, and I'd be definitely okay with that exchange. But he does go for the Air Slash, unfortunately. So at this point, I have to figure out what's best for me. I don't want to go for a Rock Slide and lose my Scolipede, so I'm going to go into my Manaphy, who should be able to take a hit pretty well. He goes for the Air Slash and does a decent amount, but as long as he's not Z Hurricane, at this point I can live any hit. He should activate my Papa Berry, and he really doesn't have switch-ins. I don't think I really need to go for a Tail Glow. At this point, I feel like I should be able to win the match. So we'll see if he has a Z-Fly here. I go for an Ice Beam, barely does not get the kill, but in return he does not kill me with Air Slash, and I get into my get my Papa Berry up. Maybe looking back on it, going for a Tail Glow could have made sense. I might have been able to win the game at that point, but I had a chance to kill with Ice Beam, so I was going to try to go for it, and I didn't want to really pop my my Berry if possible, though I suppose the Cryogonal was low enough that I would have killed it +3. So yeah, I probably should have gone for the Tail Glow there. That was probably a misplay. If he knocks me out with Z Hurricane, then he knocks me out with Z Hurricane. I couldn't do anything about that. That was a misplay on my part for not going for the Tail Glow here, but it is what it is at this point. I am able to kill this Tornadus, and I'm in pretty decent shape to win the game here anyway. So I'm going to go for the Scald, and I'll be able to 2-hit KO this Cryogonal. But he kills me and crits me with a Freeze Dry. Now, he's going to take toxic damage to make it look like it was Life Orb. Now, if he was Life Orb, Freeze Dry was going to kill me from that range. But if he was Choice Scarfed Cryogonal, as we'll find out in turn that he is Choice Scarfed Cryogonal, then Freeze Dry was not able to kill my Manaphy unless he got a crit. And so with that crit damage, I just assumed it was like a minimum or high roll, or he would have killed anyway just because of his life orb. So I go to my Mega DNC here to a revenge kill, because it's the only... I could have gone into Conkeldurr here, but I didn't really want to give a free switching into the MasqueRAIN, because at that point he could air slash kill off my Conkeldurr, and then he still has the Focus Sash intact. So I go to my Mega DNC, and he outspeeds me and kills me with a freeze dry. So again, pretty unfortunate there, but at least the Cryogonal is down. So it is 3-3 with my... Actually, it's 4-3 with my Necrozma, Scolipede, Conkeldurr, and Aerodactyl versus his Gastrodon, his Mega DNC, and the MasqueRAIN. Now again, I don't want MasqueRAIN to set up a Quiver Dance because I don't have rocks up on the field. So I feel like my best play here is going into Aerodactyl. It covers all 3 Pokemon because I do have Iron Head. If he goes into DNC as he does here, I can Iron Head and kill it. If he goes into Gastrodon, I can Z-Fly and kill it. If he goes into MasqueRAIN, I can Z-Fly and bring it down to his Focus Sash, and at that point I can Revenge Kill Conkeldurr. So Aerodactyl was over on my best play there, covering all 3 Pokemon left. And as he goes into Mega DNC, if he's like max HP, max defensive, he might live. But he is not, and I do knock it out with Iron Head, which is great. If he predicted that, like if I had Iron Head, he really didn't have any other play anyway. I guess he goes into Gastrodon, and then I kill it with Z-Fly. So he was really screwed regardless, just because my Aerodactyl is Iron Head. He was not expecting that. So that put him pretty far behind. So he goes into MasqueRAIN here. I'm going to go for my Z-Fly. I don't want to miss. He makes a good play and goes into Gastrodon. So that way I'm not able to knock it out, and he's going to get another Intimidate up on me. So I have to figure out what I'm going to switch into at this point in the match, because I really don't want to stay in with my Aerodactyl. Yes, I can kill the Gastrodon right here with Iron Head even at -1 attack, but the problem is the MasqueRAIN comes in, and I'll be at -2 attack, which again is not really an issue because I have Stone Edge and Fly. But both of those moves aren't the best in this situation, just because I have a 20% chance to miss with Stone Edge. He can Quiver Dance and maybe win the game at that point. And if I Fly and he goes for the Quiver Dance, then again, that's not a great position to be in either. So at this point, I'm going to switch out of my Scolipede, just because I want my Scolipede in on this MasqueRAIN. Even if I get Scald Burned, I'll be able to 2-hit KO the MasqueRAIN, and I'll be able to always outspeed it. So he's forced to either Air Slash and kill me, and not go for a Quiver Dance, or go for a Quiver Dance and just hope I miss one of my 2 Rock Slides. So I do go into Scolipede here. If I don't get burned, it would be excellent. But unfortunately, I do get burned, which is fine. It's not the end of the world. I'll be able to 2-hit KO the MasqueRAIN from this range. So he's forced to bring it in. His last hope, I feel like his only hope from early on in the match of trying to win this game. Yeah, I'm at -1 plus the burn. I still do Overhath with Rock Slide, and I do get a flinch. So that was pretty unfortunate on his part, but I felt like because I'm getting the speed boosts anyway, I'll be able to handle this MasqueRAIN. I'm able to 2-hit KO it. So it's good game, Hyper. But the Latios set was cool, but kind of weird just because I had my Mega DNC to do a lot of damage to it. But once that Latios was down, I felt like I was in great position to win this game. So on to the quarterfinals, which I'll be facing either Mega Oshawott or Fralls. So until next time, later guys.